Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Poor Man's Bonsai. On this video, what I'm going to do is just walk through those 4 sort of starter elephant bush bonsais that I did a few months or so back, and kind of walk you through each one, just show you how they're doing, and I'll trim them just a little bit and just kind of give you an update of what they've done over the course of the summer so far. So let's just jump right in. Okay, so the first one here, if you remember, it originally looked like this, and then I trimmed it and put it and repotted it, and it looked like this. And now here we are after probably 2.5 months or so of growing. So as you can see, it hasn't taken off a bunch, but it has certainly started to grow, and the growing season is definitely in full swing with it. So I don't know if the variegated species grow slower, faster, I'm not really sure, but it seems like the other ones have kind of grown more. But I will say, like this, what I'm going to do is just a simple trimming. This branch obviously grew a lot in particular, and so the plant clearly put a lot of energy into this branch. So I'm just going to trim it back. And all these other ones are new, the tips are all new. And so there's a couple sets of leaves, so what I'm going to do is just trim back to some of the lower sets of leaves to create more splitting in the branches. And but yeah, I think this is already well on its way to a nice looking tree, and I'm excited to continue to see it develop. I love how the roots are starting to develop on this too, so I can do some close-ups and whatnot of this after I've trimmed it. But I'm just going to do some light work here. You can see like some of these branches are longer. Some of these have only grown maybe an inch, but you can see it's got 3 sets of leaves. So it is certainly growing. It's certainly doing well. I kind of like it. It's staying pretty compact, and so hopefully as it keeps growing, it will continue to stay compact and just keep getting tighter and tighter. But yeah, it's just simple. I'm just trimming it. I'll probably have to do this again at another point later in the summer or in the fall, but yeah, that's about all I'm going to do on this one. So as you can see, it's looking good, and let's jump on to the next plant, see how it's doing. Alright, so the next one here is that real little one that I put in this cool pot, and this one I ended up needing to put something to prop it up because it was starting to droop. It was starting to droop quite a bit. I put this under there a couple weeks ago, so I think it's starting to regain its strength, but I think for good reasons, because as you can see, compared to what it did look like, it's really growing. The branches are really taking off, and I just love the roots on this one. It just looks really cool. And so I'm just gonna trim this in probably 4 spots. Really, there's only 3 main branches and one of them splits off, so I'm just going to do a quick trimming. So I'll trim this long one right here, so hopefully that will split off on that branch here. So then on the front, you can see there's kind of 3 spots left here, here, and here. So I'll trim this there, trim that there, and then this one I'll just trim here. So there we go. Quick trim, and I'll just do a few little close-ups on that. But yeah, pretty easy what I'm doing with that one. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Alright, so this one's pretty similar to the last little one. I had to use a rock here to prop it up because it as well started drooping. So I ended up putting gravel here too to help it, but I might try to reinforce it somehow with a stake or something, just so that the roots could get a little stronger. But as far as the growth, it's doing great. I'll show you what this one looked like when I first was working on it, then after I potted it. And as you can see, it's grown quite a bit, and some of the branches that I was hoping would sprout new leaves from ended up doing so. So I'm just gonna trim it a little bit and get it back down to a more manageable look, and then continue to hope that it branches off from there. So just do that one there, that one there. Yeah, I'm stoked because sometimes when you cut a branch bare, it ends up dying or dying back a little bit. So, but all of these have branched off or have developed leaves from them. So I think this one over time will look like a really cool little plant. Because it's already got, oh man, this is just not working now. Yeah, I'm probably gonna have to repot this one. It's just too loose in here. But anyway, I'll do some close-ups so you can see just how it's starting to develop. After I repot this one and get it standing more upright, I'll take some pictures and include that at the end of the video. But I'm enjoying how it's turning out. Alright, so the last one here is looking wild. If you remember, this is the one that was my kind of beginning of starting a cascade. So I'll show you what it looked like before I started working on it. And then after I originally put it in the pot. So you can see it's really taken off. A lot of those, I mean, it had some tall branches that I originally took off, and a lot of them have attempted to return. So once again, I'm gonna just trim it way back down so it puts more energy down here. And if you remember, I purposely left this one because I wasn't sure if I wanted that to turn into some really low cascade or not. But I think I've decided that I will end up cutting this off and turning it into its own plant, just so that these branches, which are really starting to take off, could be more developed for the cascade. So I'm gonna start going to town on some of these long ones here. Pretty quick process. It's also quick because I'm running out of light here, and I don't want this to. I don't want to have to shoot the rest of it tomorrow or another day. So, but this one, I think of all three, has taken off the most, and I think probably in part due to the deep pot. It's more nutrients. The roots are able to dig deeper. Yeah, there's even little ones that have new branches that have formed underneath, but I don't need those, so I'm gonna take some of those out and start trimming. So you can see, but just by removing some of those tall ones, we immediately have a more defined shape to it. So we've got, and I think I talked about it in the last video too, that one of the things I would do is to start it by doing more of a semi-cascade, which has kind of a shape above the pot and below the rim of the pot. So this part is already developing quite a bit. It's just the foliage is getting pretty dense. But so for now, I will keep the semi-cascade look. But I am going to go ahead and cut off this long one here. Boom. So now the bottom of our tree is this, which I did wire so I could kind of bend down a little bit now and kind of get the bottom, the new bottom lower. So you can see with some simple trimming, it's already looking a lot more defined. I'm going to just trim a little bit more of these baby ones that are trying to grow underneath the trunk. But I'll do some zooming in on this because the roots on this are looking so cool. You might be able to see them from there, but I'll do some close-ups too. And I'll trim back a little bit more on some of these other ones that have split off. But I'm stoked on this one. I think even just over the course of the rest of this year and into next year, it will already start developing quite a bit into a cascade or semi-cascade. Just it's really taken off. So yeah, so there's that one. And yeah, I'll do some close-ups on this one. Man, the roots are looking really cool on this. Looks like a hand reaching into the dirt, huh? The tree is a gardener. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I had to move my outro out to where there was more light because the sun was going down so fast, but I hope you enjoyed this update. I'll kind of show you some close-ups as I'm talking, but yeah, I think they're developing quite nicely. They're all growing well. As you saw in the picture, I propped this one up with a couple of my daughter's popsicle sticks that I found on the ground, or one popsicle stick that I split into two. And hopefully that will help the roots develop more. And yeah, as I was saying, I love the roots on this one. And this little one's looking good. I'll probably put that clothespin back under it to help it stand up again. And then the semi-cascade project, looking awesome. Cool roots. And yeah, I think all four are going to develop nicely over time into some really cool elephant bush bonsais. So thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next episode. All right, have a good one, everyone.